been working for the BBC as a correspondent and a presenter. One of the things that I've enjoyed most of all about my life full of travels for the BBC has been meeting people who instinctively are generous to me, and it's taught me that generosity of spirit and respect is one of the most important qualities that I wish one could transfer around the world so that everybody could get on better than they do. And the most important word I've ever learned was here in South Africa, which was Ubuntu. And the person who taught me this word was a wonderful woman called Pixie Hartman. And I said, Ubuntu, what does this mean? She said, it means I am only a person through you. And if countries like mine treated the rest of the world with more Ubuntu, there would be more prosperity and cooperation and peace and coexistence for everybody.
First Bank, for me, I would say is a bank of choice to anybody. If you're really a business person, you really want to develop your business, you're looking for a bank that has the capacity to support you. First Bank, of course, will really come to mind. And what am I doing in South Africa? Well, we've realized that there's a synergy between Nigeria and South Africa. These two countries, of course, if you put them together, it's a common knowledge that they're about the largest in the continent. And South Africa equally serves as a window to the continent. I mean, of course, we know they have a robust system, robust legal system, they have all the infrastructure. So what we're looking at is that we're looking at those investors that really want to come and invest in Nigeria. And so right from here, we help them, we midwife them, and then move them to Nigeria. We provide all the windows of opportunities for them. And it's really a successful story so far. It's not even just Nigeria anymore. I mean, we feel the fact that we now have places in Ghana, we have locations in Ghana, we have it in Côte d'Ivoire. So if you're in South Africa and you're thinking of moving to those locations, I'm the right person to talk to. So I can be of any assistance.
Now that we are talking of business, and I'm not a potential investor, but in my portfolios, I headed industry and investment. So most of the policies and the agencies that are helping ease of doing business in Rwanda, I was behind. And then I interacted with so many business people from all over in the world, including Nigeria, when they came to register or just to visit, to see the prospects. South Africans, Europeans, Asians. So I understand what business is, and I understand what policies that can be in favor or against business. I also understand civil service and Africa in general. Thank you.
I can say I feel at home, because I am among people of the media here, because that was my passion from a very young age, And, I, of course, came from a very disadvantaged background. I tried to work myself to the BBC, but the only closest I got was to be a runner-up in Network Africa competition. So that was my aim. I wanted to be a broadcaster, but unfortunately nobody had asked me, and I think this seems to be my life. Nobody has asked me what I wanted to be, starting from my dad. My dad wanted me to be a medical doctor, and this was where he never asked me what I wanted to be. I am not a business person, but I think for a country like ours that starts from scratch, we really need business, and I think one of the missions that I'm here is to encourage investors, and very serious investors, to come to South Sudan. I am a firm believer that unless you have real business, real investment that people can see that if you fight, you destroy it, then that's when they can really try to hold themselves back. That's why I feel that business and serious investment is important for South Sudan, so that people find other ways of livelihood. It's not only war, which has become a culture and tradition. So I will always appreciate opportunities of meeting people, hopefully engage with them, and I'm optimistic that we'll achieve peace in South Sudan, and we want to attract investors, serious investors, to go and invest in South Sudan. Thank you.
I started working in the UK. I worked in first job was in a town called Reading, not too far from London. I started work as an analyst programmer for an oil firm, an oil services firm. And the career has taken me into strategy consulting, into corporate finance, into what we call private equity, which is basically investment and doing deals across the continent. So in doing that, while in the UK, in my consulting and advisory roles, I lived in various places. I lived in Sweden for about a year and a half. I lived in Stockholm and a village called Karlskrona, near Malmo. So we came to South Africa. I used to do a lot of, I was representing Accenture in the Africa practice, basically spreading and investing and also building the practice across Africa. So my role was to build the communications, media and technology practice. That was what brought me to South Africa. So I did that, and then I worked for PwC doing deals, again across Africa, bringing deals into PwC, doing due diligence, and then working with the private equity firms to make sure that we provide, get the funding for the deals across Africa. A lot of time in Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, Ethiopia, and all of those places. And I stopped doing that about a year or so ago. We started Restep, and that's what I do now. So that's my story.
Fabulous.
When are you retiring? If you're done it all.
No, I haven't.
So where do I start? First, I am passionate about food. I am passionate about food. I'm passionate about African hospitality. I'm passionate about the concept of living. My book is called The Legacy of Living and Sparkles of Choice. The legacy of living is a concept where we do what we like. You said it yourself, His Excellency, that ultimately would like to go back to follow your passion and do what you want. I always share a story with my son who said, you're a good cook and you're a good writer. Park your business aside, go and follow your passion and do what you like. So I listened to my son and I published my first book. I'm also a businesswoman, and I'm running a very successful telecommunication company for the past 6 years.
What's the name?
It's a King vertical service provider. Yes.
What do you focus on? Value-added services?
It's value-added services. I also have a passion for cloud services. How do we use educate and cloud to make an impact to health, for example, in a way that we can improve lives? Because we have access, most of us, we have the knowledge. We got the knowledge from, all over the world, but how do we use that knowledge to make an impact to our community? So that is my vision, and that is what I believe in. Somewhere, Tunji was at my launch, my book is very much, I think, a story of my life as it is about food, but it is also a story of purpose. So somewhere, the work on my book and my business is combining. I'm still trying to get to that spot. And I'm still trying to get to that spot where I'm not going to talk about business at all, but I'll be talking about purpose.
I've got a couple of portfolios. So deal making, we run deal making, Ola knows, in South Africa. And then that's basically chatting to entrepreneurs about putting deals together, like Kanisa. And I find that role very, very liberating, because entrepreneurs are a big catalyst. They move the economy, they create jobs, and it's the core of what we want to do in Africa. So the more we fund entrepreneurs, the more we guide them to do bigger and better things, the better opportunities we create. So I think the idea is we've reached a maturity stage in banking where it's actually about delivering value. And I think the whole economy is getting to a stage that it's back to tangibility. So moving money and trading and derivatives is all fictitious stuff. It's back to tangible. By the wine story, you buy wine, you pay. So I think we're going to get back to that economy. I think that's going to build Africa. So I think that dovetails nicely with the emerging classes in Africa. The role I'd love to play is connect the dots, and as I said to Ola, we wanna do impact stuff in Africa. So I call myself an Afro-optimist nowadays because I love the whole African story. I think we're doing so bad with exactly what you've said, the standards of EQ and IQ we have in Africa. We really do ourselves a disservice, and it may be a lot to do with politics, but I think we've blamed politics for long enough.
Okay.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure. It's a pleasure sitting amongst wonderful people, having a wonderful meal in a wonderful cellar. And thank you, Tunji, for organising it. My passion is in communications. When I was little, my father asked me, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be a journalist. He said, no, that's not a profession for a young lady. I'm like, why?
Who said so?
That's my dad.
Your dad is that true?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I just love going to the library, reading books, knowing things. I love to know stuff. I love to know. Probably not as much as Tunji, because he knows in the second or third or fourth layer. But I just like to know. And he always says to me, you're always on that Twitter, you're always on the something. Or he'll call me and say, what's the latest? And I'll tell him, you know, current affairs. I love the news, I like what's going on. And so I always grew up knowing that I was going to work, or I was going to be involved with people, travel, communications, writing, or whatever, and that's been my story, and I have done that. My background is in strategy, branding, people management. I currently contract with Choice Africa as a stakeholder and CSI manager, which involves sustainability projects, working on initiatives around the continent. Working around the continent, and working on projects that impact the environments where we operate. So I'm not the decoder lady, I'm not the discount lady.
No, it's not.
I'm the lady who will come to you and say, here's a good initiative, what do you think of it, do you want to partner with us? And so I work on the CNN Multi-Choice African Journalist Awards. I drive that for Multi-Choice Africa. I work on the DSTV User Star Awards, which involves getting children involved in writing about satellite technology and the impact of satellite technology on our environments. And when the children, when they get to go to Paris, these are kids who come from rural areas, never travelled before, get to go to Paris, get to see, speak to ambassadors of the countries, their host countries, and see a rocket launch and come back and tell the story. And those are the kind of things that move me, because I'm thinking, when I slug to get up in the morning every day and complain, and eventually, in the course of my journey in the year, I get to meet one or two people who I've impacted. It makes it all worthwhile.
I think what I just wanted to say this evening is, and I said to Tunde Ola, that if we come to a stage like this, we have to throw a challenge now. My father died in 2006 as a professor of law with a net asset value, without any valuation, of $10 million, 4 wives, 12 children, a name that cannot be destroyed because he built it from the bottom up. So he died at 65, I'm 50 next year. If I die tomorrow, I should be able to leave a net asset value of at least $10 million. Even if I can't beat it, I should match it. And it doesn't mean that I want to have the money donated to my wife or my kids, but what my interests are, I should be able to put that money into it. So if it's child education, if it's girl-child development, if it's to clear landmines, if it's to reduce terror on the African continent, create jobs. If my father dies in 2006 with net asset value of $10 million and maybe about 1 million rand in his bank account or less, if I die today, I should be able to at least meet that. So today is about how do we then do the things that we're passionate about, but do it quicker. And Nigeria for today, we're in the news, CNBC was great to see Jonathan and Buhari, but we still have no refineries, we have no roads, we have Boko Haram, we have many of our people, our best and brightest, 22 million Nigerians outside Nigeria, And most of them, at least 60%, will be doing things that they will never do back at home, jobs that they will do. So, in closing, my challenge is, we have the Rwandan ambassador, South Sudan ambassador, Tunde is in private equity, Zach is in major bank, biggest bank, market cap. What does it mean? How many Nigerians work for FMB across the business?
How many Africans?
Yes. No, let's start. Let's start because when I ask this question, I ask it for the whole of Africa.
Yeah.
It could be Rwandese, it could be Sudanese.
Sorry, let's not
Yes.
be guilty when we say Africans.
Yeah.
South Africans are Africans. I'm not getting.
No, I want to play this out. The reason why I'm playing this out is the Maslow Hotel that I go to every day. Yeah, the Maslow Hotel that I go to every day tell me that they cannot employ a single non-South African because they have to. The reason why they do that is that they need to meet their quota. Okay, that's fine. No, that's great. But we are the same people that open our borders to foreigners of all extraction. There are places like Excravos and Focados in Nigeria where people who have no Nigerian descent live 10 times better than the Nigerians who are as qualified as they are. So I'm turning it around. I'm not saying that there's a need to employ Nigerians tomorrow. What I'm saying is that Nigerians, 22 million of us outside our country, and we cannot vote. As long as we're disenfranchised, as long as a country that has 180 million people and only 12 million or 15 million people vote for the president, as we know, is that a legitimate government? 12, 15 million voted for Buhari. 12 million
Out of 100.
out of 100.
That is a shocking stat.
About 30 million people voted.
Yes, that's right. Is that a democracy? So, finally, if we leave here tonight, what I want people to remember is that we've created a family tonight. All of us, I know that we're aggressive and we're focused and we're ambitious, but all of us must remember each other's names, surnames, ask each other about our children, where they are in the pecking order. Because the biggest problem in Africa is lack of succession planning. Even my own father, with all the wealth and the inheritance, no succession plan. He died interstate. He thought he was going to live on to 500 years. No will, no plan, no proper structure. And if we were Swedish or German, with that net asset value upon death, we will be one of the richest families in 10 years. This is a Pinot Noir. A Pinot Noir is a feminine red wine. It is the grape that goes into champagne, wines of desire, La Vierge, right? The Virgin.
The Virgin,
La Vierge. As you can see, this is a Magnum. I think 2 bottles at least in this. So it's a full-size bottle. I will proceed to open it so you can salivate over the volume as well as the beauty of it. It is a Pinot Noir. The reason why we chose the Pinot Noir is that the Pinot Noir is the road less traveled. It's the grape that goes with the Chardonnay into sparkling wine or champagne, Méthode Champenois. So that bottle, cute, with your partner, if you can kill it in an hour, then you become celebrities. So this bottle is worth a quiz. And the quiz is simple. Since we're all Africans, we're going to go fingers on the buzzer. The first person that reels off 5 countries in Africa alphabetically from A to E gets this bottle.
Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, DRC, Ethiopia.
So it's a winner. There's no need.
The man has won.
He's won it.
Zach,
You got
you're
it.
the man.
You can't check.
Cheers, thanks.
You're the
You're
man.
the man.
Enjoy it.
Let's clap for Zach.
Clap,
Thank you so much. How do you describe this? I don't think I'm ever going to be able to drink it.
Memories. Yeah.